Top of the morning, good afternoon, hello, and welcome to all you wonderful coaches. Cheers. Welcome to your inspirational thought and question for the week. All right. Most of you know who I am. For those of you who don't, Dermot Butley, creator and facilitator of the best damn coaching business building program on the planet, Club Fearless for Coaches, where anything is possible. Okay. This week, I'm going to talk to you about an inspired thought. Inspiration versus deflation. Are you inspired to do things in your business, create clients, make money, or are you constantly pushing and forcing and deflating yourself? Are you inflated where you have wings to get stuff done in your business, or are you deflated? Now, I wanted to burst this and then show you the deflated, but I really like it, so I didn't want to burst it. But you get the idea. If there's no inflation in here, you ain't going anywhere. If you ain't. All right. I sat down this morning with a nice cup of tea, and I thought to myself, well, Dermot, walk your talk. Look at what inspires you in your business and what deflates you. So I'm going to share that with you now. Let me just pull this up. Okay. Now, when I sat down this morning and I looked at what inspires me in my coaching practice, like why am I working to build a coaching practice? One of the biggest things that I get a huge kick out of is helping people. Just helping people to be better, helping coaches to create money, to take shortcuts so they're not spending years and years trying to create a business, and just helping people. Being creative. I love being creative. I sit down every day for a couple of minutes and I just jot down ideas. I have a cup of tea and I think about creative ways to create clients, to serve people, to help people. I like making these videos. That really inspires me. That lights me up. I love making these videos. I love going into Canva and creating some nice, JPEGs. I like sitting down with my cup of tea and looking at, what ideas I want to share with the coaches today. Really enjoy that. I love taking something and making it better. So as you know, we have Club Fearless for Coaches, where our mantra is anything is possible. We help coaches create paying clients. That's it. But using creativity, service, and doing what makes your heart sing. And so I love sitting down and thinking, how can I make this program even better? How can I make things in my business better? Big thing for me is, in terms of inspiration, is I like to be the boss of my own time. I like to be able to, last week, my girlfriend wanted to go to Walnut Creek, and she wanted to hang out there at our meditation center and cook some meals with the chef there. And I thought, well, I've got all this work to do. But then I realized I'm my own boss. I can take the work with me. I don't have to ask someone, can I take the day off? And so I took the day off and I went to Walnut Creek. One of the wonderful things about having your own business is you're the boss of your own time. I get very inspired in my coaching practice when students in Club Fearless, they share their success stories. I had a student a couple of weeks ago share that they made $50,000 client. And that lit me up for days. I was just so inspired by that it even kind of inspired me in my own business to look at what I was doing. I get inflated with teaching and facilitating. I love teaching. I love facilitating groups. I've probably spent in the last 10 years close to $300,000-400,000 in being coached by Steve Chandler, Michael Neal, some of the top coaches, Karen Davis, Catherine Casey. I spent a lot of money on just learning how to facilitate groups. Why? Because it really lights me up. It inspires me. I get inspired by putting good stuff out into the world. Hey, I'm doing something good for the world. I'm coaching people. I'm helping coaches. I'm making inspiring videos. That lights me up. Helping coaches shorten the time it takes to create a prosperous business. A lot of coaches are struggling because they're trying to sell coaching instead of serve people with their coaching, which is down below is the bonus audio, the deeper dive audio down below to help you with this talk that I'm doing today. Showing up and trying stuff. One of the things I teach all the time is there's no right way to build your business, but you can show up and try stuff. Ask yourself, what's some fun things I want to try in my business this week, and go out and try them. All right. Now, let's look at what deflates me in my coaching practice. What takes the air out of my wings so that I can't fly? And by the way, coaches do this. It's a very slow process. It's kind of like the air is coming out. You don't notice it until you're totally deflated. But I sat down this morning and I thought, Dermot, what are some of the things in your business that deflates you, that just takes the air out and makes it like, oh, this sucks? And by the way, there are days that I think coaching and business building suck. Everyone goes through that. I'm not a happy camper all the time. Anyone that has a business will tell you that. Okay. One of the things that the top thing that really deflates me is when I'm trying to sell coaching instead of serve people coaching. In other words, when I'm trying to get people's money, or when I'm forcing the business to make money. In the early days, I did a lot of that. 3 to 5 years before I met my coach, Steve Chandler, I spent all my time trying to make money, trying to sell coaching. Didn't work. Another thing that really deflates me is overthinking everything. Should I do this? Should I do that? Is that going to work? Is that not going to work? That really, that takes the energy out of me. Doing stuff I don't want to do. For a lot of years, there was stuff that I was told I needed to do, create funnels, make these videos that I really didn't want to make, sell coaching, tell people about coaching, have tricky marketing things to get a yes from a no. I did those things for years. They didn't feel good, and I don't do them anymore. Being on the computer too much. My business is on the computer. And so I spend a lot of time on the computer. I now have my business to where I spend 2 hours in the morning, and then I take a break for 2 or 3 hours, and then I get on the computer for another 2 hours. And I do that on Mondays, Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays. And that's it. Chasing after clients. Everyone knows this one. Running after clients. You gotta get a client. You gotta get a client. How do I get a client? How do I get a client? That will totally deflate you. Trying to get this business building right is like trying to teach a dolphin to play the guitar. It's not going to work. Yeah, especially for the dolphin. There's no such thing as getting this business building thing right. There's only looking at what would be right for you. Another way of saying right is what would make your heart sing. It's a question I tell the coaches in Club Fearless all the time to ask themselves, what would make your heart sing? Now, one of the big things, too, that deflates me in my coaching practice or building my coaching practice is I'm always focused, used to be, on the result instead of just enjoying the process. Now, the biggest thing that helped me with that was I asked myself, because in the early days I was focused on making money because I had no money, I asked myself about 5 years in, not you don't have to go through 5 years of hell the way I did. I asked myself, what's enough? How much money would I need to make per month? And then after that, it could be just, sky's the limit. But how much did I need to make in my business so that then I wasn't worried about making more money, or I wasn't forcing or stressing about getting clients? And so I came up with that number, and then I decided, okay, I'm going to make that number. And I started making that number from teaching. I've been an Ericsson trainer for 5 years, taught a lot of coaches. And so I worked at Ericsson. And then I was able to focus on building my business without the stress of having to make the money, because that will deflate you quicker than anything. Is if you start coaching and you're like, I got to make this work. I got to make this work. You have all this thinking. Think about it this way, and we're going to close with this. You have got all this thinking on, I've got to make it work. I've got to make it work. I've got to make it work. So you have all this overthinking. Now, when you have all that thinking going on in your head, you can't see the forest through the trees. You can't get creative ideas. You can't be inspired because you're in a mountain of thought. But the great thing about thought is that if you wait and relax, your thinking calms down, and now you can see clearly. Now you can get inspiration. Now you can get inspired. But if you're like this This deflates you quicker than anything else in the world, is overthinking everything, stressing about everything. So allow your thinking to settle and then ask yourself some good questions. Okay. Now, I left down below the bottom a bonus audio. It's from a program I created a couple of years ago called The 6 Biggest Fears That Coaches Have and How to Move Past Them. And so I'm just going to share one of the videos with you because I talk about the difference between serving and selling. Serving and selling is the difference between inspiration and deflation. Selling deflates, serving inflates, inspires. So have a look at that video, and there's also a link for the program. If that's of interest to you, you can buy the program too. All right, coaches. So your question, that's your inspiration thought. Your question is, sit down, have a nice cup of tea for the week, and ask yourself, now don't drink tea the whole week and do no work. Although I do that a lot. Sit down and ask yourself, do what I did this morning. What inspires you in creating your coaching practice? If you're a new coach, it's a great question to ask. If you're a seasoned coach, it's a good question to ask because you may be burnt out. You may be forcing instead of serving. So ask yourself, what inspires me in my coaching practice? What would I love to do this week? What would I love to try in my coaching practice? I ask the coaches in Club Fearless all the time. Keep asking yourself, what would you love to create? And the second question I'd like to ask yourself is, what deflates you? What sucks the life out of you? What are the things you just hate doing, but other people tell you you should do or have to do? And write a list of those. And then start focusing on the list that says, what inspires me? And start to let go of those things that deflate you. There's also a link down there for the next Club Fearless Experience class. We're going to be talking about how to develop your coaching skills to the professional level. It's going to be a wonderful, wonderful class. Registration is down below, and we look forward to seeing you in that. Until next week, think big, have fun, stay curious, and remember, enjoy this process. It's meant to be a fun one. Cheers.